what's happening is a result of neglect and abuse, and the wildfires are a big beacon showing things that are out of control, nature that's not been tended, or the wild that's not been tended by humans. We've pulled ourselves out of the equation. We've taken all the grazing animals and not learned how to reintegrate and do integrative management. So this approach to address the wildfires essentially are alternative right now to letting things just get out of control and burn.
My name is Moshe Kraftel. I'm the founder of Tree Culture. This company is founded based on a method that I developed as a graduate student. And what I aim to do is to reorganize the material in the forest by pruning it out, using all the material in place to create a forest floor that will provide a positive biological feedback to improve the nutritional output of the forest. In this process, it will also dramatically reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfire in the forest. The risk of catastrophic wildfire is currently affecting the entire Western Americas, north and south. It's affecting the lower rim of Europe. It's affecting some coastal areas of Australia, and these problems are spreading. So this method appears to be very effective in changing those conditions in high value areas, and it's economically viable to implement in high value areas to significantly reduce the risk while boosting the ecological output. This is a 2-acre demonstration site, and it's nearing the end of its period, and here are some of the preliminary results.
I'm conducting silviculture, process where man uses silver and metal and interacts intelligently with the forest around him. So the idea is to create a healthy forest by taking this extra stuff here and putting it on the ground. I think traditionally man would use this for heat and cooking food. Put it down on the ground. Over a few years it starts to break down and actually feeds the organism that's underneath what's breaking down. Also, you'll notice, a nice healthy tree system, it'll collect moisture out of the atmosphere when you have a fog or just a marine layer. This good amount of water just came down right there, and it grows in this matrix here. Carbon gets fed back into the mineral soil with the interaction of fungus and insect.
Blade for right now. Is that what I'm trying to do? Yeah. I think a longer is better, and I can kind of accommodate you any blade. Try this one out.
That back area was, well, visibly it was mostly arundo, this invasive sort of grass that comes up as canes, and it provided an interesting privacy screen for the farm. But my consciousness of the underlying habitat was mostly completely blocked out. I couldn't see really any of the forest or any of the smaller growth, because it was all that was visible was arundo. It's really neat. It has this impression of being more connected with the surrounding ecosystem and environment. When I look out in that direction, I see a huge diversity of species already, of different trees and shrubs and plants that I had no consciousness of before because of this just sort of wall of Arundo. So it feels like our farm is less isolated, like we're more connected to the surrounding area.
Yeah, the challenges for doing this kind of work are that people are used to seeing either a neglected wild space where you don't touch it and you call that preservation, or you over-treat it and you chip everything down to the ground and over-groom it, especially because people think they get it, but they need to come out and see it and not just think about it ideologically like a preservation versus fire management. This is sort of just a whole land regeneration technique, and really trying to communicate that has been hard because people want to hear about nature preservation or fire management, and we're doing both in a different way.
Absolutely, all the fires are caused by neglect. We would like to often blame the ignition source, whether it be somebody's tailpipe when they ran off the road, or a lightning strike, or somebody trying to cook their dinner. But we keep focusing on the ignition points. We need to focus on the conditions. We have a very unhealthy conditions of lots and lots of dead material piling up over generations. The only way that nature can get rid of it without a large influx of animals to process it is to let it up fire and put it back into the atmosphere. Let it come down elsewhere and start the cycle again. But we can change that by doing that intervention and raising the ecology in a way that there is a system that's self-sustaining, so that we have a healthy ecology and we don't have catastrophic wildfire.
I guess the big challenge is getting people involved, either with their money or their time. It's not a bad job. I have a good job that pays well, but I tell you what, to me this is good work. It makes me feel good. I look forward to it every week to come out and do this for 4 hours, and I don't know if I'd be able to do it full time, but certainly try.
Part of the reason that we have goats here, animals and animal management is a really important part of holistic agriculture and ecosystem management. Animals provide an essential role as they're like walking through and eating, and their hooves are making little impressions that collect seeds and allow little bits of collection of water. They can do a lot to improve the soil in an area. So that's why we have them here on the farm, and that's what we're hoping to do with them out in the field. Goats in particular are browsers as opposed to grazers. So they're a little bit pickier about what they eat. They don't just mow stuff down. They're more likely to eat larger things, and they're more selective about what they eat. So what we're hoping is that we can bring out the herd into the area, that Moshe has cleared some of the more aggressively growing, more dominant species, and that as they eat them down, those species, they'll provide an opportunity for the other plants to come back in and take a little bit of a stronger hold, so we can have a more diverse ecosystem out there.
Yeah, really interacting with nature and realizing my role in nature really puts things back into the big schema of being connected to the earth and also being a steward of it. This practice puts you outside. You become an observer of how nature actually works and how you work with nature, becoming part of nature, and feel a sense of complete peace from doing the kind of work that brings better health, and to know that this is setting a pattern for a legacy that will live beyond me, beyond other people, and regenerate life on Earth and provide the new patterns for a healthier ecosystem balance for all life on Earth.
It's what kept me going. Is I was in university, I'm studying, I'm in the books all day, and I was spending 2, 4, 5 hours sometimes outside in the woods with the machete, and I'm there trying to balance the forest. And it's a lot of hard work. It's great exercise, but every day I'd go in and just work an hour or two, and I could be able to step back, and suddenly I see this outcrop of beautiful trees that you couldn't even see before because they were completely overgrown with vines and many species intermingled. But once you go through and route it out and step back and see an outcrop of trees that are balanced, that you can expect them to continue to grow, it's just extremely satisfying.
Absolutely, yeah. I would call this my church. You know, as I'm doing this, I have an intent that's very positive, and you know, I'm allowed to let my body just kind of, once you do this enough, you just kind of know what to do. You don't even really have to think about it too much, and you become part of the environment. And I tell you what, when I come back after, it was a lot of work to clear this 2 acres out. The hardest part is the first evolution, where you're removing all this dead wood and dropping stuff and trying to get things in balance. But coming back a year later and seeing the result, and then as we come through the second time seeing the result, it's just a fantastic feeling that hopefully people come and look at this and go, wow, this is a good idea. It's good stuff.